The human body is a complex and fascinating structure, and it's also radioactive. That's right. You heard me correctly. We are all radioactive to some extent, and that includes you. And it's not just us humans. Every living thing on Earth is radioactive, but why is it? Well, it all has to do with one element in particular, uranium. You see, uranium is a very heavy element. In fact, it's the heaviest element that's naturally occurring, and it's also highly radioactive. But despite this, we have significant amounts of it inside our body. In fact, a typical adult contains about 2 to 3 milligrams of uranium. Now, that might not sound like a lot, but it's actually enough to kill several people. So how do we not die from having so much uranium in our... Well, it all has to do with how we got it in the first place. You see, uranium is found naturally in soil and water, and we constantly ingest small amounts of it through the food we eat and the water we drink. But don't worry, because most of this uranium is in the form of uranium oxide, which is relatively stable and doesn't easily break down in the body. However, some of it does break down into radioactive isotopes like radon gas, which is actually the second most common cause of lung cancer after smoking. So while it might be surprising to learn that we have uranium in our bodies, it's actually not all that dangerous. In fact, we've probably all ingested a small amount at some point and lived to tell the tale. But there are some people who have taken things to the next level when it comes to ingesting uranium. For example, there was a man who was nicknamed the Radioactive Man. He was a security guard who worked at a nuclear power plant, and he became obsessed with uranium. He would take it home with him and put it in his food and drink. He even admitted to putting it in his coffee, although he claimed that it didn't affect the taste. But why did he do this? Well, it's not entirely clear, but it is thought that he may have been trying to cure his cancer, or that he simply liked the way it made him feel. Whatever his reason, he ended up ingesting massive amounts of uranium and became extremely sick. His skin turned green and he started to lose his hair. He died a few months later from kidney cancer, which was likely unrelated to his uranium ingestion. So while it might be surprising to learn that we have uranium in our bodies, it's actually not all that uncommon. And for the most part, it's not dangerous. In fact, we've probably all done it at some point and lived to tell the tale. But there are some people who have taken things to the extreme, and unfortunately, they paid the price. If you enjoyed this video and want to learn more about the human body, stay tuned for more updates. And until then, stay curious.